Hey Janet, have you seen her script yet? Get a load of this.
What is it, Kent?
Here, listen to this. You might recognize it. There is another dimension beyond what is known to humans. It is a dimension as vast as space and as limitless as infinity. It's the in-between of light and shadow, superstition and science, the pit of one's fears and the summit of their knowledge. This is the dimension of creativity and conception, a place we call the Daybreak Sector. Now, isn't that something?
Have a good night, sir.
Oh, wait, I'm not quite done yet.
Thank you, sir.
No problem, ma'am. Hey, what's with that odd-looking jar you have there? And why does it have a finger floating around in it? It ain't even Halloween season yet.
Oh, it's nothing you want to hear about. And it has nothing to do with Halloween, sir.
Well, I don't have anywhere to go. Tell me the story.
If you're really sure. But beware, you might be having nightmares for weeks.
Ma'am, I'm pretty sure I can handle it.
If you really say so.
I do say so.
Well, one night, a man came into this very restaurant around closing hour. He sat down and only asked for a single glass of water. Given it, he cut off his left ring finger with a small knife he had in his pocket and dropped it into the glass. Leaving this restaurant, he placed the glass jar with his finger in it on this desk and said if anyone were to come across him, he would give them something. Something dark. Something magical. Something that would give them the power to grant 3 wishes. But those 3 wishes had to have been for someone else other than themselves.
And you believe that story?
No. Why would this man be a sorcerer? It's not like he's Harry Potter or Percy Jackson or something. He was literally just a guy coming in to get a cup of water.
Okay. Well, I must be off, or my wife will wonder why I've been so long.
Okay, have a good night. If you still can.
Stupid story. I wonder why they just leave that jar there. They could have thrown it out, and everyone's misery toward it will be gone. Then they could...
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yes, sir. I am.
Oh, what do you need?
Do you have a $1 or 2? I really need some water or something.
Hold on. I think I have something. Here, I have a 10. Get yourself some food while you're at it.
Thank you so much. I have to find a way to repay you.
No, you don't have to do anything.
No, I must. Here.
Penny.
It's not just any old penny. It's my lucky penny.
Oh, no. You keep it. You need it more than I do.
No, I insist. Take it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, wait. What happened to your other finger? They're gone. How did he disappear that quickly? It's the same bronze everywhere, same engraving as any other penny, same color, same smell, same everything. What could be...
Hey, Chet. What are we up to this fine evening?
Hey, Arnie, up to the usual. You?
Well, my boss decided to start firing people at random to make room for younger people. I can't believe him. He can't just do something like this. My wife and I barely have enough money to last through another year.
That sounds awful. I wish you'd win $1 million lottery or something.
Yeah, like that'll ever happen.
Hey, you never know.
True. Well, I have to get back inside or my wife will think I got lost getting the mail or something.
Yeah, see you later.
You too, buddy.
Shaw, I'm home.
Hey, Chet, how was your night out?
It was... good.
Good. Now shower, brush, and go to bed.
Since when are you my mother?
Since always. Now go.
Sheesh.
What did you say?
Nothing. In this drawer, maybe no one will be cursed with its magic. I'll get it.
Chet,
Hey, Arnie, what's up?
well, I don't know how to get into this, so I'll just get to the point. Remember when you wished that I won the $1 million lottery or something?
Yeah, yeah. But that was weeks ago.
Well, I picked up one of those lottery tickets on my way home from work last week. This morning in the paper, the winning numbers came out.
And?
I won, Chet. I won the $1 million.
Whoa, man, congratulations. But how?
I don't know. It's so amazing. I'm still in shock. Do you even understand what this will do to my family? We'll be able to live again.
I don't know how. The penny. I have to go.
What?
I'm going back to that restaurant and going to get some answers.
Chet, where are you going?
Oh, honey, I'm just going to, get something. I think I left something at, the restaurant. Yeah, a while back.
Okay, but don't be too long.
Promise. I'm gonna find that man and give him back his stupid penny.
Can I help you?
Yeah. Actually, I was just looking for something.
Okay, but if you need anything, just let me know.
Sure. Where is he? The jar's still there. Oh, and there's still a finger. There he is.
Hello, Chester DeMock.
What? How do you know who I am? How is that even possible?
Of course, I know who you are.
But you do realize how creepy that is, right?
Oh, yes. Sit down.
No, it's okay. I'm not going to be here for long.
Suit yourself then.
Well, yeah, I was just here to give you back your penny.
And why would you want to do that?
Well, it's like it does strange, no, magical things.
Like,
Well, my neighbor, he was complaining about his job to me, and I wished him to win a $1 million lottery, and he did.
what if it was just luck?
Maybe, but I don't think that's it. You see that jar with the finger in it on the front desk? They said the guy who put their finger in there was now missing their left ring finger, and when you handed me the penny, you were missing your left ring finger, so I can't help but ask if you are the person who put their finger in the jar? What
I think you've got it all wrong.
do you mean I've got it all wrong?
The beholder of the penny has to use all 3 of the wishes before handing it off.
What?
But if you want to give it back, I'll find another person to hand it to.
Please?
Fine. Now, if you will, I have to find another to behold the wishes of the penny.
See you later?
We'll see about that.
Ah! Holy guacamole! The top of my left ring finger is missing. But there isn't any blood. There's 2
Are
fingers.
you okay, sir?
I...
Never give back the penny.
Hello and welcome to the CCB World News. Tonight, we'd like to begin with a different story than one we might usually show. All across America, radio stations, news networks, and even some high school radio networks are joining together to perform a series of short tales designed to be an entertaining event for families across the nation. And you just heard the first of our 7-tale series tonight. And oh, that was an eerie one. The concept of a lucky coin causing fingers to be cut off sure gives me the chills. If you're wondering what's playing, you can find our schedule of which programs to tune into at what times over on the social media pages of any local network. Now, let us move on to our second story of the evening, one that's a little more comedic and quite a different take on a classic story. Here is Thaddeus's Travels.
Charlie, it's just one book. Please sit down and read 2 chapters tonight, okay?
But Mom, there's nothing I want to read.
Do you want to get a bad grade?
I don't care.
Charlie, go to your room and read a book.
Ugh, you don't understand. I don't want to do this. Charlie, do this. Charlie, do that. Why do I have to do anything? What's this? A book? Where did this come from? Ow, what in the world just happened?
I second that, ow. It was quite a rough landing.
Did a book just talk?
So, what's it to you?
Wait. How are you a talking book?
Oh, good question. I don't know. How are you a talking human?
How is that an answer?
It's not. It's a question. And I have another one. Where are we?
I don't know. I was gonna ask the talking, magical book floating in the air next to me.
Where?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, girl, what are you doing down there?
I was looking for my book, and I found it. So, yay!
You shouldn't be here. Come with me.
Hey, wait, kid, where are you taking me?
Ask where we are. I mean, I assume it's around 200 BC, but...
What?
Can you tell me where we are and who you are and where we're going?
Stupid girl. How do you not know where you are? You're in the Pharaoh's palace. I'm Avasi, a cupbearer.
Pharaoh?
Like in ancient Egypt.
Yeah, I got that.
Then why did you say it like a question?
I don't know. Maybe because 1 minute I was opening a book, and the next, that book is talking. And now I'm being dragged through the halls of a palace by a child who claims to work for a pharaoh.
Shush, girl, be quiet. We're about to pass the Pharaoh's hall.
For your information, my name is Charlie, not girl.
Excuse me, all-powerful Pharaoh? But someone is here to see you.
Who?
A merchant who goes by the name Baco. He claims he has a business proposition for you, my gracious ruler.
I guess I can hear this business proposition. Let them in.
What's happening?
Sometimes the all-powerful Pharaoh has guests who bring him gifts or ideas.
So this Baco's one of them?
Hello, my gracious ruler. It is a gift to be in your presence.
Just hurry up and tell me your idea.
Well, the other day I was making my way through the market.
Skip the sob story and get on with it.
Oh man, this Pharaoh sounds like he needs a nap.
Just be quiet and go back to being a normal book.
But I'm not a normal book. In fact, I have a name. Thaddeus. Thaddeus the book.
You're telling me that you go by the name Thaddeus the Book by choice?
What is the problem with Thaddeus?
Nothing. It's just.
As I was saying, all-powerful Pharaoh, my proposition consists of one word. You're gonna get a kick out of this one. Pyramids.
Oh, are we seriously getting to watch the pyramids being created?
Stupid girl. Is your book talking?
Trust me, I'm as surprised as you are.
Charlie.
Yeah, book. What's up? And make it quick. I really want to see how Bako's whole pyramid thing pans out.
Well, something is about to happen.
Where?
Welcome!
It seems we may have landed in East Anglia in the 800s with the Vikings, as you can plainly see.
Ah, the book talks. How interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
What is this witchcraft? Shut up, Ivar!
Who's that?
Oh, him? That's Ivar the Boneless. He can be a bit annoying sometimes.
Excuse me, but what is this food?
That's haggis, dear. Sheep guts.
Ugh.
You don't have to eat it. It wasn't made for you anyway.
Yes, considering that we have just arrived, there is no reason why food should be prepared for us.
Will you stop talking?
Fine. I guess I will just listen to you with your insolent mouth speak to this random Viking you just met for no other reason than that we're stuck here until my power kicks in again.
Thank you. So, you're a Viking. Does that mean you like pillage villages and stuff like that?
Some of us just came here from Norway to find a new home after Harald became king of Norway. Many of us here don't even want to pillage. Oh, I'm Holga, by the way.
I'm Charlie.
Charlie? Isn't that another way to say Charles? You don't look like a boy, and does that mean you're a Saxon?
I'm American.
I've never heard of that. Is that in Asia or somewhere?
Charlie,
What?
if you would like to fracture the space-time continuum, I suggest you keep mentioning things that don't exist yet.
I'm fine, Book.
Thaddeus! My name is Thaddeus.
Whatever. I don't really care what your name is, Book.
It seems like you have angered the hounds.
Shut up!
That didn't even sound like a dog growl.
Apparently it did.
I can hear you. I'm only... Whatever the word is for hearing everything.
Sure you are.
You are unbearable.
I say you give the book to the dogs to chew up.
What? No!
I agree.
No, I'll smite you. Yes, I will smite you.
Thanks for the empty promise, but no.
No, please, wait. Oh, it's happening again. Here we go.
Oh, great. Where are we now?
Well, I don't know. Why are you asking me?
Because... Oh, forget it.
Ah! My canvases!
Da Vinci?
Wait, I've got to do one thing. Portrait bomb!
Go! Get away! Shoo! You're ruining my masterpiece.
Oh, come on, Da Vinci. Paint me like one of your Italian girls.
Book, stop flying around like a deranged pigeon. What happened to your whole protecting the space community timer or something?
I figured we already messed things up. What's one more mistake gonna do?
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Gotcha! Whoa. That painting looks nothing like the Mona Lisa in the museum.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, maybe if you tilt your head to the left.
The eyebrows.
Oh my gosh, yes! The eyebrows.
They actually exist.
I know, it's...
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
What's going on here? Who is this child?
Shut up, Lisa. This is almost complete. Voila! A masterpiece.
Wait a second.
That's us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh. This is not good. We can't be in one of the most famous paintings in the world.
No, I mean... Uh-oh.
Oh, no. You kidding me?
No.
Well, bless my soul, how'd you get here, little miss?
Long story. Hey, Book, where in the world are we?
It's funny you say where, not when, because we've barely moved. We're still in Italy, just a less savory point in time.
Did you know your book could...
Yes!
My bad. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, strangers. My name's Camilla.
Look, are you perhaps feeling a little funny? Because I want to get the heck out of here.
Well, actually, I'm feeling pretty... Oh, never mind.
What is going on here? Where are my delightful sounds of disembowelment?
Oh, shut your yapper.
Who's that?
Oh, that's just Caesar. He runs things around here, all the power's kinda gone to his head. There's not much we can do about it. Although, we do call him Sneezer behind his back.
Charlie, make sure to pay your respects. We've just witnessed the death of comedy.
Thanks.
Why me?
Camilla, your arm. It was just...
How disarming. There. Now that is a good victory.
Seriously, Book?
I'm sorry for your loss.
That was my fake arm. I always hold the real one behind my back because it's so skinny and would suck at fighting.
But the other arm is literally not attached to you, so it would also be useless at fighting.
Huh?
I've seen more brains on my friend Bartholomew, the potty training book.
Who is giving these books names?
What? Bartholomew is just Bartholomew.
Bartholomew.
Yes, Bartholomew.
Oh, never mind.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed your set and company. You are in the middle of the arena.
Oh, yes, how could we forget?
So, if you don't leave now, I cannot and will not promise your safety.
Look, can you, time travel on cue, maybe? Because this friendly gladiator is slowly becoming a lot less friendly. Look!
I'm trying. I don't know how to make it happen.
Finally, back home.
I have to go now, Charlie.
What? Why?
If I continue to exist any longer, I will break the space-time continuum.
Excuse me? Space-time what now?
It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you will never see me again. Actually, you will see me. I'll just be an inanimate object. Do me a favor. When I'm gone, will you read me?
I will. Goodbye, Thaddeus.
Oh, hey. You actually called me by my name. Well, goodbye then.
Well, I guess I have a book to read.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that performance.
I know I did. I mean, come on. A sentient time-traveling book? My family's going to laugh at that for weeks.
Yes, well, in the meantime, why don't we take a moment and give some appreciation to some of our sponsors this evening. We'll return in a moment.
Shovel, rake, mop, anything, you just have to swap. Clip them onto your shoes. Now cleaning is all up to you. V-Tools, the cleaners of the future.
Is your throat hurting? Feeling a little sick? A little down in the dumps?
Here's a temporary solution for your pain.
These cough drops come in multiple flavors, such as berry and honey. They work mere minutes after consumption. No promises that they last very long, though. That's why we created a large bag of 500 pieces
for only $20 a bag. come pick one up at your local grocery store.
Side effects may include spontaneously blurring space facts, itchiness in the arms and legs, vanishing fingerprints, dizziness, sleepless nights, vivid hallucinations of donuts falling from the sky like hail, the sensation of being granted a birthday wish, unusual desire for pouring liquidized metal into one's hand, blistering, bursting out into tears as one urinates, excessively vomiting orange jello, craving banana peels and discarding the banana itself, purple bodily fluids may come out of any cuts in the skin, random bursts of total numbness in the face, usually coming with a strong urge to bite others, death, and thinking one is Elvis Presley. Ordered from tolerable to the worst thing that could happen to mankind. Death and thinking one is Elvis Presley. Ordered Presley.
Hello, America. Sorry to disturb you. I know that CCB said they'd be back, but it seems as though they've lost communication abilities. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. We'll send someone over there to check things out, see if a radio tower malfunctioned or something. They have more stories to tell us, so they wouldn't want to drop out on us. But for now, let's transition our thoughts to another mysterious story. Put your seatbelts on and enjoy Cave In.
Hey Jones, take a look at this.
The missing person files? I thought we closed them weeks ago.
New lead, an anonymous tip.
So it's those 4 kids, Sadie, Bugs, Lennon, and Axel.
Yeah, and now we have reason to believe they're alive. The anonymous caller stated that all 4 kids are together at...
Do you have any additional information on them? In a situation like this, we need as much information as possible. After all, we have several families to put at ease.
There is not much information about the students, besides when and where they went missing. The whole case has too many loopholes.
What do you mean by loopholes? The files don't say anything about a loophole.
These kids went missing miles away from this location, and now they're all together. There needs to be some human involvement in these cases. There's no other explanation.
Where and when did each child go missing?
Sadie went missing 2 months ago on a solo hiking trip where she never returned. Comes with deep pockets, her family spent quite a bit of funding for her search party. Then we have this so-called Bugs, only reported as missing via speculation. They lived in a youth homeless shelter for 4 years and was reported as missing from the facility multiple days after he was last seen. Axel went missing 5 months ago. His family claimed he went missing while exploring an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. He hasn't been seen since. Aw, crap, now the file's soaked.
It's fine, and let me guess, that was Lennon's file? I'll get you another copy later today.
Thanks, Jones.
Officer Lambert, going back to those cases, all of them are so different, and there's no suggestion of foul play. Don't you think it could have been a prank caller?
At first, I thought so too. But the caller knew too much information.
Very well then. I'll investigate tonight, but there's a high chance we won't find any evidence. Anyway, I need you to stay here at the station.
I understand, Officer Jones. Thank you for trusting me.
This is Officer Jones at... investigating a possible missing persons lead.
Officer Jones, do you request backup?
I can handle this just fine, thanks for asking. Over and out. No traces of any bodies, nor evidence to believe there was anyone here. 184. Anyone there? Show yourself! Who's there? Ah! Oh god.
I heard the Echo 2 tunnel's over. What the heck happened?
Oh, thank heavens you're back.
You missed a car nearly crushing us to death, Lennon. Where were you?
Well, obviously it didn't crush you, so calm down.
Anyways, is it still not safe to leave?
Still smells like death and is nearly impossible to navigate on foot, but...
Be careful. We don't know who that belongs to or where it came from.
Hey guys, it's a police car.
If I were to guess, that would mean someone is looking for us, or at least was.
Darn, the door's busted. Why don't you check the trunk? There might be a cell phone or something.
I'm on it. There's nothing. Nothing at all.
Maybe we can pry open the door if we all try.
Great idea. Come on. You two get on the right side and I'll try opening it from the top.
I'm on it.
I'll try to use this rock to wedge it. Hey, look, a walkie-talkie.
Really? I want to see.
Oh,
Help!
Hello? Who's there?
We need help. We've been stuck here for months.
Please come save us.
Stuck? Months? Where is Officer Jones?
We don't know. The car crashed into this cave without a driver.
Holy, I'll send backup right away.
We'll be waiting for you, officer.
We will get there as fast as we can.
Stupid car. Ah!
What'd you do that for, idiot?
You're the idiot. Why don't we just drive off?
Because then we would be stealing property of the police.
And?
And how would you like to be in jail for the rest of your life?
It'd sure be better than being here.
I don't believe you.
Lennon?
Yes?
Why can't we just take the car?
We could. Then we could.
Why are you two looking at each other like that?
Freedom!
You idiot! How come you had to pull the handle off of the door?
Just listen. We could drive off and be free.
How?
By either you or Axel driving. Duh.
Oh no, there is no way you're gonna get me to drive that. We all crash into a rock and lose a limb or two.
Sadie?
No.
Come on, we really need to get out of here.
Depends on if you can get that door open or not.
I'll take that as a yes. Done.
But what about the person who put us here?
Yeah, who knows what they would do.
We'll be fine, guys. Don't be such negative Nellies. Listen, I know you might not trust me, but this is our only way out.
Lennon, it's not that we don't trust you, it's just that this plan is absolutely insane.
Sane or not, whatever, I trust him. Now, let's just go. I can't stand staying here any longer.
Well, at least half of us are on board. Sadie, Axel, you on board?
Fine, I'll drive if it means getting us out.
If we all end up dead, this is entirely your fault.
Yeah.
I guess here goes nothing.
Hit the gas!
Oh my god. It feels like we've been in here for hours.
How complicated is this cave anyway?
No idea.
Lennon, you've been guiding us the whole time without knowing what the layout is?
Calm down, Axel. I have a feeling we're almost out.
I knew I shouldn't have agreed to this. He's been in these tunnels hundreds of times. There's no way he hasn't found a way out, or at least a consistent route.
Wait, do you guys see that?
Hey, that's flashing lights!
Police cars!
Guys, we're almost free!
Everyone step out of the car and slowly come forward. It's all going to be okay.
Come on, everyone, don't freak out. It's for our safety. After all, we're in a stolen police car.
Okay.
Does anyone have possession of a cellular device?
No one has a phone. After all, we've been together the whole time, so I would know if someone had one. Why do you ask?
We've traced an anonymous call to this cave, as well as the car's black box.
That doesn't make any sense. The only person to ever have the chance to call was... Oh, God. Lennon.
Everyone step back, and you, the oldest, come forward.
What's going on here?
No clue.
It's nothing important. Let's just do as the officer says.
I'm going to show you a file, and I want you to tell me the truth. Is this you?
I'd have to take a closer look.
Bridgeport?
Mental hospital?
I repeat, is this you?
Probably.
You don't know?
Well, even if I did, I still wouldn't tell you.
So you're saying that you're the one who...
All this time, you kept us there. For what? For fun?
You are sick.
Well, he is a psychopath. Wouldn't you agree, Lennon?
Good evening, viewers, and thank you for tuning in to our interesting program so far. Unfortunately, we are needing to speed up our production in a little in an attempt to send more resources over to check in on the station. It seems that more and more of our broadcasts are unexpectedly disappearing without reason. There is an electrical storm that may have grown across a number of stations. Authorities are still telling us to stay calm, however, and that the problem will be fixed soon enough.
Broom, shovel, rake, mop, anything you just have to swap. Clip them onto your shoes. Now cleaning is all up to you.
Feet Tools, the cleaners of the future.
Do you want clear skin? Are you impatient? Yeah, me too. Then try this face wash for any and all genders that immediately clears your skin for you. Apply just once a week to keep your face clean and clear. Clear skin isn't just for women. Anyone can look cute as heck after just one use of Washly.
Trademark.
If you enjoy Washly,
Trademark.
then be sure to also check out our Stain Rain sprayers and Tackle Towel to get even more things done in a flash.
I think we should be doing this.
It'll be fine. It's not like we even had a choice anyway.
The other news stations they hired for this show completely disappeared. We don't even know they're alive. I can't die. I have plans to take care of. Not to mention, I still have a tamale in my refrigerator. I can't die before I've eaten it. What? What in the world could be more important than my tamale? I still have to water Mexico and gummy vitamins tomorrow. But no, I have to cater to you and your problems. Now, what could it possibly be?
We're on air.
Oh.
Welcome back to Tigers on Air, the student-led radio station for Tigard High.
And now, for those who are interested in the new show by Smedwards Productions, episode 2 of The Hungry Bird Inn is now out, and we are pleased to be the first to broadcast this fun new tale to the nations.
Please enjoy and make sure to show your support to the producer.
Do you think I'll get fired? I do still owe John $5, and I have plants that need nutrients.
Ha! You'll be lucky if...
Ah, Ileana. It's nice to see your face again.
You too, Gornad.
It's always nice to see my best customer.
You only say that because I come here so often.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been?
I've been on the run for the past few months.
From the guild, I assume.
Just like every other time.
Don't worry. You know you can find a safe haven here.
And you always provide.
So, can I get you something to eat?
Sure, just something simple.
Of course. Just some meat, cheese, and bread for my best customer. What is it, Sula?
The bandits. They're coming.
Ileana, hide. Hello. How may I help you?
We're looking for someone.
I can try to help. Who are you looking for?
You know who she is. That elf, Ileana.
I'm sorry, but I cannot disrupt the privacy I have offered my guests.
Listen here. You tell me where she is, or I will make sure you regret it.
No. You listen here. You walk out right now, or I won't even have to make sure you regret it.
Fine. You win this time. Consider yourself warned.
That was close.
Luckily, more than 20 guests can beat up full bandits no matter what. Ah, new customers. What are your names?
I am Dalian, and this is Ocio.
Yes, I'm Ocio.
Well then, everyone, give a shout to Dalian and Ocio.
Quite a warm welcome.
Of course, for new guests. But that isn't it. As new guests, you can have my finest meal for the regular amount of gold, as well as unlimited free mead.
Oh, I could go for some mead.
Of course.
A full tankard? Well, that's quite a bit.
Drink what you want, keep the rest. And the whole tankard. I don't really care. And can I get something for you, Delian?
Just something to feed a hungry traveler.
Well, you sure did come to the right town for that. There you go.
Wow, this all looks amazing.
It is only the finest meat, cheese, bread, and fruits I have available.
And will this be the same price as a regular meal?
Of course. Anything to please a newcomer.
Another!
Excuse Ulcio here. He's never really had too much mead.
Trust me, it wouldn't be the first time I had to deal with this. So, are the two of you just passing through, or are you staying a while?
Just finding a place to stay. We have somewhere far away that we need to be in a week and a half. Can't really spare any time doing something else.
Far away, you say? How far?
Cather Baila.
Cather Baila? It's quite a long walk. Do you have business there?
An urgent message for the king.
Well, you better get well rested. You can have the back room, and your friend can have the adjacent one.
Thank you for your hospitality. We really appreciate it. Even if it doesn't seem like Ulcio does. Come on, Ulcio.
But mead!
It'll be there in the morning.
There is always tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to SBC News.
After just hearing story, we will be about and so be with and because.
Sometimes you just have to and be without your bugs. The song.
So, without further or story.
It was a crisp winter morning in Woodsboro, Michigan. The village was bustling with activity.
Free samples!
The baker called out, a silver tray of goodies in his hands. The warm smell of freshly baked blueberry muffins filled the air as a crowd gathered around for a taste.
Ain't nothing like fresh baked goods on a chilly fall day like this,
said a townsperson, carefully selecting a muffin from the tray.
Blueberry is my favorite,
said another, by the name of Gregory, selecting the largest sample.
Soon enough, the tray was empty.
Guess I'd better make more muffins.
The baker exclaimed, heading back into the shop.
Walking down the street, one would feel enchanted. The quaint shops seemed to have a magical air about them, as if, listened to closely, they would be able to tell countless stories. The hum of the seamstress sewing machine, hiding a tale of adventure and glory. The sweet smell of the lilacs and honeysuckles nurtured by Edward the florist. The folds of petals telling a story of love and passion, like letters on a page. The bubbling of soup or boiling water coming from the kitchen in the restaurant, recalling the fable of a witch who once brewed potions within those walls. The hammering of metal against hot metal, as Ruby the blacksmith makes a horseshoe. The red-hot clanking bringing one back to a time when gods roamed the earth, raising mountains from the ground by sheer will. Little did anyone in this small town know, however, that the darkest story was about to be written.
This particular story follows our dear Lizzie, a lively 17-year-old girl who knows just about everyone in her small town. At the moment, she is making her way towards the fabric store, where we will meet our seamstress, Miss Larson.
Any chance you'd have a pale green ribbon?
Lizzie asked the seamstress.
In fact, I do.
The seamstress replied, adjusting a bolt of fabric, 2 pins held between her teeth.
Would you like that 2 inches thick, 1 or half an inch thick?
1 should be fine. How's my dress coming along?
Lizzie inquired, stroking an impossibly smooth bolt of cloth. The movement sends the natural dust in the room spiraling, looking almost like pixie dust in the light coming from the window.
Near finished, but I should have it ready about 7:15 tomorrow morning.
Lizzie made her purchase and left the shop with her new green ribbon. All around, the lights in the shops dimmed, then flickered out as the shopkeepers closed up. The flames in the forge died down as Ruby and her wife closed up the smithy. Lizzie looked forward to tomorrow morning, eager to try on the new dress. Little did she know she'd never see the dress completed.
The next day was quite a bit blustery compared to yesterday. Lizzie didn't mind, though. She was rather excited to try on her new dress, nearly skipping to the fabric store. Once she arrived, she noticed that the sign in the window was flipped to the closed side.
She said it would be done 7:15.
Lizzie thought, checking her watch.
It's 7:15 sharp.
Lizzie mumbled to herself, pushing the door open. It was unusual that the seamstress would be still closed after 7.
Maybe she forgot to flip the sign.
She reassured herself. Still, the store was eerily silent as she walked in, and she got the feeling something was off.
Hello, Mrs. Lawson?
Lizzie walked cautiously into the shop and made her way into the back room. She saw the seamstress slumped over her unfinished dress.
She's probably just asleep.
Lizzie reassured herself. She lightly shook the seamstress.
Mrs. Lawson, wake up!
Lizzie whispered urgently. The seamstress' head lolled to one side, revealing an emotionless face and blank dead eyes, illuminated by a bright red candle.
By noon, the fabric shop was surrounded by a large crowd of citizens.
And you saw her here at 7:15 a.m.?
Asked the sheriff. He had a stubby, worn-down pencil and a sheet of paper, which he held against the wall to write.
Yes,
Lizzie replied with a shaky nod.
The sheriff sighed in exasperation. He'd been trying to clear the area for hours. How was he supposed to conduct an investigation with the people swarming everywhere?
Everyone, go home! Lizzie, inside with me.
And after hours of failed attempts to disperse the crowds, the sheriff's final attempt succeeded in sending everyone away. With a nod and grin of satisfaction, the sheriff walked inside the shop, and Lizzie followed close behind.
The sheriff began to investigate, closely examining the candle and rummaging through the desk drawers. Lizzie waited, staring upon her unfinished dress with a look of disgust. It was the most beautiful thing she'd seen, yet all she could think of was how much it had cost her dear Miss Larson. A silent tear ran down her cheek as she thought of Miss Larson's warm smile, something she'd never see again.
Aha!
The sheriff exclaimed, snapping Lizzie out of her thoughts. She wiped away her tear and turned toward the sheriff. In his hand was a small envelope with a red wax seal. He cracked the seal and studied the contents, a puzzled look on his face.
What in the...
What is it?
Lizzie inquired, accepting the note from the sheriff. She studied the words, a hurried scrawl in handwriting that seemed familiar to her, yet she couldn't quite place why.
When 1 meets 12 and the mission is complete.
Lizzie began to read, her hands shaking.
When rum is rind, the den corrupt, upset familiars leave the wagon train, yeast the figures lie faster.
See? It's hopeless. There's no rhyme or reason to it, just a whole load of babbling nonsense. They don't even know how to write properly. That should be least, not yeast.
The sheriff sighed and took off his hat, running his hand through his thinning gray hair. Lizzie suddenly felt bad for him. He was always working hard to keep this town together, mostly by himself.
And so Lizzie made her way home, a rush of emotions spiraling through her, but mainly confusion. One of her dearest friends was now dead. The town was in a panic, and even the sheriff couldn't decipher the note leading to the next clue. She was so fixed on her thoughts that she nearly ran right into her front door. But even though it was home, something didn't feel quite right. 1 week had passed since Miss Larson's sudden death.
And although many are feeling down over the death of Mrs. Larson, especially our dear Lizzie, things have slowly begun to go back to normal. Or at least, as normal as it can be.
It's early in the morning, maybe 6:30, and Jane Willow is out for a morning stroll through the town. She passes by the bakery, still closed for another half hour, but as she passes the outhouse directly outside the bakery and down a short alleyway, she has to do a double take.
Wait a second.
It's still early enough that the sun hasn't fully risen yet, making the alleyway feel eerie and out of place. Taking a deep breath, Mrs. Willow quietly walked down that little alleyway. The outhouse's door is cracked ever so slightly open, with something on the ground holding it open. Unsure of what it is, she slowly opened the door.
Gregory Bennett's lifeless body tumbles out of the outhouse and stops in front of Miss Willow, his dulled eyes staring right up at her as dried blood drips out of his mouth.
In tears, Mrs. Willow runs out the alleyway and to the sheriff's office as fast as she can, almost tripping in her heels.
Whoa. What seems to be the issue, ma'am?
My best friend is dead in the outhouse by the bakery.
Take me there.
With a nod and a heavy sigh, Miss Willow leads the sheriff back to the bakery. She points down the alleyway, not wanting to look.
Well, I'll be darned.
The sheriff studies the body. He finds an envelope sealed with red wax and the number 184 stamped on, next to a red candle inside of the outhouse on the floor.
Another note?
The sheriff tears the envelope open and reads the note.
The past best crypt unsaid, unleavened no longer. The torch of unkept secrets, or lost and wandering mutts. Which side do you take? XOCEIYRFF. Peculiar, and yet still nonsensical. Given the dried blood, I think I can safely say this man has been dead for at least a few hours. Is this how you found him?
Yes. No. I saw something at the door, and I came to see what it was. But he fell out when I opened the door. Other than that, I haven't moved him or anything.
I see. And what was his name again?
Gregory Bennett.
Gregory Bennett. Alright, I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Alright.
What is your connection to Mr. Bennett?
We've been best friends for 5 years now.
And when was the last time you saw Mr. Bennett?
Yesterday. He walked me home at around 8.
Alright. Okay. Do you know anyone else Mr. Bennett was acquainted with or knew?
Well, Greg always loved snacks. He would visit the bakery every single day, and he'd always bring me along. He spoke to the baker and his wife from time to time, but other than that, he didn't talk to many people.
Got it. Well, thank you for your answers, Mrs.
Jane Willow.
Thank you, Mrs. Willow. I am terribly sorry for your loss.
Miss Willow nods somberly before a scream is heard from the inside of the bakery. The sheriff and Miss Willow both jump in surprise before giving one another shocked glances. They both run to the door of the bakery.
The sheriff opens the bakery door and rushes inside. Mrs. Willow follows suit. They look into the kitchen behind the counter and see Margaret Montgomery, the baker's wife, sobbing over another body. The sheriff runs around the counter and drops by Mrs. Montgomery's side.
Margaret, what happened?
I woke up this morning to find my husband not in bed. I figured he was out here getting some baking done, and came out to help after getting ready, only to find him.
I heard screaming. Is every... Mr. Montgomery?
Sir?
What is it?
There's another note on the counter here.
Mrs. Willow gesturing to a dimly glowing candle on the countertop, with the wax dripping onto yet another envelope.
Thank you, Mrs. Willow.
Another note?
The sheriff approaches the candle and opens the envelope, reading it out loud.
My story proceeds. Even the tasteless muffin, of which you consume so eagerly, favored encounters swoon to be no more.
What in the world is that supposed to mean?
I'll have to try to decode it back in my office. First, I need to question the two of you as well.
The sheriff looks between Lizzie and Miss Montgomery, speaking to them. Both nod quietly in response.
And he was such a wonderful friend.
Mrs. Willow cried, fanning her face.
He always liked to take walks in the mornings with me, and we'd always stop by the bakery so he could get us free samples from the baker, and we'd talk about... I always liked to tell him stories of my husband and I. He was always so happy for me. It's just hard to believe I won't ever get to see his smile again. He was my best friend.
Lizzie tried to comfort Miss Willow as tears streamed down her face.
I'm sure he was as wonderful as you said, and more. I'm so sorry for your loss, ma'am.
Thank you, miss. I appreciate it.
Mrs. Willow gives Lizzie a weak smile before the sheriff exits the bakery.
I think my investigation has come to a brief stop. I'll be in my office examining the evidence, but until then, the bakery is off limits.
Ms. Willow and Lizzie give the sheriff a nod. They exchange one more sympathetic glance before turning and walking away in opposite directions.
As our friends went along their day, they couldn't help but thinking about the ones now gone to the void. Lizzie and the sheriff in particular. And it was soon too much for Lizzie. She had to figure it out. What did these messages mean? She rose from her seat and swiftly jogged to the sheriff's office, where Sheriff Roberts sat sitting at his desk, upon which sat 3 envelopes, once sealed with crimson wax.
I want to help,
Lizzie exclaimed, her cheeks flushed from the crisp air in her run to the office.
I can't shake away the feeling that this is in some way connected to me.
That's a very common occurrence for anyone close to a murder victim to feel responsible for their death. And I know Mrs. Larson meant a lot to you, but I will figure this out. I just need some time.
The sheriff took a deep breath and returned his gaze to the envelopes. He was trying to seem calm, but if one looked closely, they'd notice the anxiety in him. By the way he ran his hand through his thinning hair, or the way he drummed his fingers across his polished mahogany desk.
You won't make much progress without reading the actual messages. Who knows when the next murder will happen?
Exactly! Who knows? Could be never! I haven't dealt with this before. I have no idea where to even begin. What does XOCEIYRFF even mean?
That's what I'm saying. Open them up and read. There's got to be a clue. Maybe it's a code. And if it's a code, then there's a key. Look for a key in one of the first notes.
Look, I know it's hard to do nothing, but you need to trust me. Is there anyone you can go talk to? Your mother, or...
Mrs. Larson was my last friend. I don't have anyone now except for Lydia and those messages sitting on your desk. I'm going to help.
Lizzie stood there, emotions raging, face hot, prepared to take down a bear if given the chance.
She opened her mouth to speak again, but hesitated as quite suddenly the sheriff reached out and began to open the envelopes, laying each one out so they were easily readable for Lizzie.
Take a seat. Let's get to work.
Lizzie gave a satisfied smile, then took a seat next to the sheriff. They began reading the first message once again, but this time seeing some things they didn't before.
Of course! Yeast, unleavened, those are baker's terms. They weren't errors, they were intentional.
So they are clues, telling us who will die next, and that would mean any other words that seem misplaced may not be, like crypt for kept, and witch for witch.
Or swoon for soon. But what do they mean?
Well, if the first 2 lead any example, then they must be telling us who the next victims are.
But what do crypt, witch, and swoon have in common?
Lizzie and the sheriff jumped slightly as the door swung open. Someone Lizzie had never seen before had barged in, completely oblivious of the focused environment he had just disrupted. The man was tall with messy brown hair. He wore a pair of grease-stained overalls and an equally stained shirt. His work boots were scuffed, and his pale blue eyes had a bit of crazy look in them.
There's something you need to see. Follow.
He exclaimed, quickly rushing out. A moment later, he returned after he noticed that no one followed.
Me. Follow me.
He then rushed outside again. Lizzie and the sheriff leapt to their feet and chased after this new figure as he weaved through the streets to a cemetery just outside town. The group stops and a tall man points out a very harrowing sight.
Atop the stones of 4 graves sat little crimson candles, a group of 3 together on the most recent additions. but the one that interested them the most was the stone farther back. It was smaller than most and would not have been noticed easily save for the glaring candle set upon it.
I found these when I came this morning to give my respects. I've heard about the candles left on the others and...
How long have they been here?
I don't know, sir. I don't come here every day. Judging by the melted wax, I'd say a few hours.
The sheriff stood in silence for a moment before realizing.
There's 4.
What?
There's 4. Why are there 4 candles?
The sheriff moved briefly towards a group of graves to read their inscriptions before changing his course to the lone candle, barely flickering.
Did we miss someone?
Lizzie asked expectantly.
No, this has been here a long time. A good 11 years, I'd say, from the date. And a name I think you'll recognize.
Lizzie paused, thinking of who she would have known in that unfortunate time of her life, her face contorting when she realized.
Oh no. Richard?
The sheriff gave a singular brief nod, and with that nod flooded memories from Lizzie's past.
Lizzie remembered days long ago when she would play with someone.
A young boy named Richard.
Yes, Richard. Young at the time with only 9 years to his name, he was a very intelligent young lad with many brilliant ideas, including a new way to keep time using the drips of a candle.
The 2 siblings had just lost their mother the past year. Their father was a fisherman, so he was always away surfing the Great Lakes for food. They had been taken care of well because a kind young lady decided she would mother them for she could have no kids of her own.
This woman always came over smelling like smoke and horses. She always brought freshly baked cookies from her non-public at the time lover. But little did she know that for the past few months she had been spending more and more time with little Lizzie, and had taken less time to notice the increasing anxieties of Richard.
Then one day he disappeared, assumed to have been dragged off by wolves or stolen by the Indians. Lizzie cried for weeks as the town frantically searched for a sign of the boy, but one was never found. Adaptable as she was, Lizzie learned to move on over the next 5 years, making good friends with Miss Larson, the seamstress, and soon had blocked out all memories of a brother, until now when...
Lizzie?
Tears slipped down Lizzie's face, and the whole setting was too much for her. She ran off again, back to the home she once felt love in, now deserted, the sheriff calling out in the distance.
This is not how an investigation is supposed to go.
Frustrated, the sheriff walked back to his home to cool off and debrief what little they had learned. It wasn't long, though, before he received a pleasant visit from his daughter.
Why, hello there, Lydia.
The sheriff exclaimed, opening his door and gesturing for her to come in. He motioned for her to take a seat and settled himself in his favorite armchair.
How's my girl doing?
Fine.
And the wife?
Oh, she's doing well.
Now, what brings you here?
Just wanted to see how my father was doing. You have a lot of work to do, what with all the murders. I figured someone's got to check in on you. Also, I brought cookies, Ruby's secret recipe.
The sheriff hadn't noticed the small basket Lydia held until she set it on the small table next to his chair. She unfolded the cloth covering the cookies, and immediately a sweet, warm smell filled the living room.
These smell delightful.
Sheriff Roberts was glad to have a moment of peace with his daughter, a break from the chaos that was now his town. He was especially grateful for the relationship he had with his dear Lydia. He saw a lot of his late wife in her, the honey-colored hair, the green eyes, with a hint of seeing them, and the way she laughed as if she hadn't a care in the world. His eyes clouded over as he recalled one day years ago when he'd made the worst mistake of his life.
Father, are you crying?
What? No.
He folded his arms in a fair attempt at a defensive pose. Lydia just laughed her soft laugh and selected a cookie. She took a bite and closed her eyes.
These are the best cookies I've ever had. Lydia, would you be a dearie and fetch some milk from the icebox?
Lydia left the room and the sheriff was left alone with his thoughts. He was glad Lydia was able to forgive him for making her live on her own far too soon. She was the bright spot in his life, and he was glad she was able to start a life of her own with a very special woman, even if she wouldn't have been his first choice for Lydia.
Sooner than he'd expected, Lydia came back with a bottle of milk and 2 mugs.
Surprisingly enough, I have actually never tried these with milk. I guess Ruby and I ate them all too fast.
Sheriff Roberts knew he had done the right thing in not denying his daughter and her wife. He could see how happy she was, happier than she'd ever been before. He felt his mood darken. If anything ever happened to either one of them.
Another day come, another week passed, and still no success in finding their killer. Unfortunately for the residents of Woodsboro, there would soon be another clue.
And as with the previous victims, there's something not quite right with the world when they disappear. The day is early once again, the town still waking from their slumber. Sheriff Roberts is the only one risen and prepared for another day of fruitless searching. As he stood in his kitchen heating water for his breakfast, he heard a soft thump in the next room. Cautiously, he crept to the hallway, only to see another body lying by the open window. And this wasn't just anybody. As the sheriff looked on, he recognized who this person was. He saw the familiar caramel hair, the freckles, the dirt smudges on her dress, the soft smell of smoke and horses.
Lizzie was also awoken by a thump, though much quieter, like the sound of a small package being delivered by a mailman. She rose and dressed herself quickly before walking out to find another mysterious delivery. A timer, unlike she had seen before, yet similar all the same, rested on the windowsill. You see, this timer was not designed using sand, but molten wax. As the timer sat dripping in the window, Lizzie rushed to get the sheriff.
The sight of glossed-over sea-green eyes set the sheriff into a panic. He scanned the room frantically, his eyes landing on the red candle dripping next to an envelope, and quickly shifted his gaze to look out the window. The street lamps flickered slightly as if a figure had barely turned the corner before being seen.
Before she realized, Lizzie was across the street from the sheriff's house, looking at the sheriff whose eyes were filled with tears, mouth agape, staring blankly at the alley behind her. She rushed over, calling out to him.
Sheriff Roberts, I found another clue.
Opening the door, Lizzie hadn't taken 2 steps before noticing the body. She glanced around, focusing on a single target, the envelope that arrived with every body. Tearing it open, she read the message aloud.
Medals of honor meant to detain, forged from twice hexed wombs, of whom favored no gain. Sheriff, it's talking about...
The sheriff, having heard someone speak, had turned around and put his hand on Lizzie's shoulder.
Go get my daughter-in-law. She needs to know.
But Sheriff, the note is...
Just go.
Lizzie hesitated, but she couldn't say anything now, so she ran off to the forge, not knowing what she would say.
And as the sheriff watched Lizzie turn the corner, he saw the familiar flicker of a lamplight fading away as the sun cast her rays in the street. Back at his house, the sheriff, Ruby, and Lizzie mourned over the loss of Lydia.
Why? What did I do to deserve this?
Exclaimed the sheriff, holding a handkerchief.
It is absolutely not your fault.
Sure it is. I'm the one that kicked her out when she was young.
But that's in the past. It's not your fault.
I feel like it's mine for some reason.
Lizzie and the sheriff looked at her, surprised.
Why?
Lydia was everything to me. She was the person who said I should become a blacksmith, job I've always wanted. Maybe because I listened to her advice, and because I married her, she was taken from me, because I shouldn't have.
That's not true, Ruby. Marrying Lydia wasn't bad. I'm glad you took her advice. You have a good, well-paying job.
Yeah, and a dead wife.
Hey, don't think of it like that.
I have no choice but to think of it that way. I was going to make her a special horseshoe for her birthday, but now...
Ruby trailed off, and Lizzie saw a tear roll down her cheek.
Would Lydia want us mourning over her? We should focus on celebrating her life.
How? Lydia is dead. There's nothing we can do.
Think of some of the good times you spent with her.
Ruby and the sheriff went silent. It became late, and Lizzie had to leave, but at least they didn't look so sad.
It's late. I should be off.
Thanks for everything.
Lizzie left, upset about Lydia and confused about why Ruby would blame herself. She became more determined to find the killer. It was the only way the town could be saved.
She entered her cold, lonely house.
Lizzie wistfully stared out the window. This little magical town she loved was fading away.
Mrs. Larson, then Mr. Montgomery, Gregory, and now Lydia? What's happening to Woodsboro? Why do all the good people keep disappearing? What is going on? Would the killer, whoever it is, would they kill me?
Lizzie shivered at the thought.
Later that day, she decided to go see the sheriff. Maybe he had more clues.
I must find the killer.
She kept saying that to herself, picked up her pace, and made it to the station, quietly entering his office.
Sheriff Roberts?
She called, but no one answered.
Sheriff Roberts!
Lizzie called out again, louder this time.
Sheriff Roberts!
She lit a candle, frantically searching around, wondering where he could be.
Look, I need to tell you. Oh, no.
Behind his desk was the dead body of Sheriff Roberts.
Her vision blurred, until all she could see was the flame from the crimson candle.
Oh my gosh.
Lizzie ran, stumbling over her dress as she swiped at her face with her sleeve, trying to control her sobs. She didn't know where she was going or who she was occasionally shoving aside. All she wanted was to escape. Step after step after step, Lizzie ran, but the town seemed endless. It was like a hellish dream. Everyone she'd ever loved was gone, and there was no escape from the everlasting playground of the killer.
Lizzie stumbled blind, shoving through crowds, her heart racing, yet somehow she still had the energy to keep running. Little did she know she was in grave danger.
It's you.